Hello, my friends. We're going to continue our discussion with the Course in Miracles. And for me, of late, it feels like pieces of a long put together puzzle, the last pieces, maybe not the last pieces, pieces nonetheless, are falling into place. This is 30 plus years of studying the Course. And of course, every time I dive into the text, every time I did the workbook lessons, um, something of great value took place. That um, the world made a little more sense. That something um, rigid broke within me, making me more spacious, more loving, and more forgiving. However, every time I go back to it, I see I wasn't there. Not yet. Still not. Um, but it feels different this time. When I dive specifically into the text, it was always about the workbook for me. But lately, it is the text that keeps calling me to dive in deeper in random places that I go where I'm directed within the text. And I read and I move on. But the reading is different. The reading is, I can't even call it contemplative because it's deeper still. It is as if a seed had been planted long ago by my previous reading, and that now in its revisit, I'm finding a wonderful garden bearing fruit. Um, and it's amazing with a bit of a deeper understanding now. I don't want to say a great understanding, not yet. I don't want to be premature about it because who knows? Who knows how deep it actually goes for me, for you. This is why I really believe the Course is a lifelong practice, process, a joyful one. When we pick it up as a task, I will get to the finish, I will complete it, and then I will be somewhere. I will be something. And of course, the Course is a great undoing. You don't become, you are revealed what you've truly and always been. Right now, as of yesterday and today, chapter 30, the only purpose, um, is really calling to me. We'll skim through it little by little, see what it offers. But I love the beginning. The real world is a state of mind in which the only purpose of the world is seen to be forgiveness. That gives us, as the title says, one purpose, one and only one, the only purpose, to forgive. Why do we forgive? And how do we forgive? We forgive to heal a seemingly fractured world. We see pieces. We see objects, all separate from each other. So it's easy to judge. It's much easier to judge when things and people are seen as objects separate from us. If seen in the reality of the light of oneness, then we are only judging ourselves. And maybe that's not a problem, says the ego, because it's just as content to judge itself as it is to judge other people. However, through forgiveness, we see the ego is imagined. The ego of others is imagined. That it is truly just one beingness, holographically shown through every aspect of the world. Forgiveness brings us back home, or gets us pretty close. The final step calls for our surrender. Forgiveness brings us to that final step. Forgiveness is actually still of the world because perfect oneness, God, Himself, Herself, has no need for forgiveness because no error is perceived. We live in a world of perception. And that perception has us trapped. As I read yesterday, we can't evaluate an insane system from within because we just see more insanity. We go from the insanity of one view, one situation, to another one in which we believe, which we perceive is a higher state, but it's still seeing fragments. It's still seeing separation. This is why forgiveness says, according to the Course, we look past the perceived sins, perceived errors, the perceived mistakes, and we see that person, that egoic system, doesn't even exist. Nothing's been done. It's a different way of forgiveness. It's a harder way in a lot of respects until it isn't. It's harder because we do not want to give up the fiction of our beliefs. We don't want to give up the fiction of a material world. We don't want to trade it for the reality of spirit. And then we do. And we see the great sense that forgiveness makes, the healing that it takes place. And then we're absolutely free. Maybe not 100% liberated. The final step of liberation, complete surrender. Until then, we just change the dream to a happier dream. And that's where I feel I'm just now entering the garden of a happier dream. I'm seeing the fruition of all those previous years of diving into the Course. Is it going to take me to liberation? I'll be honest with you. I don't care. Here's what I care about. The continuous forgiveness. The continuous reminder that forgiveness gives me that this is not the world in which I belong to. Again, it's a little weird. I know it is. No one needs to come in and say, Eric, that's pretty weird. I already know. How can this not be the world that I want? This is the world that I'm in. That sort of sounds like bypassing. However, the world I want is already present and it's here. And it is the mind state of heaven. As it says here in the beginning, the real world is a state of mind in which the only purpose of the world is seen to be forgiveness. The real world already existing. And when we forgive, we see that real world. And we see that we can be there right now. And we, through forgiveness, can help lead other people to the real world. It's not so odd. It's not as weird as we think when we look around the world of our perception and we see the warfare, we see the crime, we see the hate, we see neighbor versus neighbor, we see the mess of political system where few profit and many starve. And then we say, well, that's just the real world. That's reality. What if it wasn't? What if it isn't? And what if through forgiveness, through that quantum level forgiveness that we're talking about here, you catch a glimpse of the real world and you say, I'm not going back. Not fully, because now I have the keys to reality. And the key is forgiveness. And the more I use it, the more the door actually stays open. All I can say, try it. See what happens. The worst that will happen, you'll be happier. You'll be living in that happier dream. At best, maybe you'll be the one this time around that is fully liberated. And in your liberation, you're going to lead us all home. All right, guys, that's it for today. Take care.